DiverXO Madrid is our third stop, a 3 Michelin star restaurant honeymoon trip. DiverXO is the best restaurant I've ever been to. It's consistently ranked one of the top 10 restaurants in the world, and the chef, David Muñoz, is like a mad scientist in the kitchen. Come with some of the most creative plating and flavor profiles I've ever tasted. So the chef's able to cook some super authentic flavors you have to be a local to know, delivering each dish with theatrical flair.
And he made the absolute best fish I've ever had in my life. The whole experience was like watching and tasting a show.
It was like taking a journey from Spain to Asia and infusing all those flavors together. All right, let's go.
So this appetizer was kind of his take on caipirinha cocktail. Like, this was good. This was like a good way to start the dinner. This was a little bit citrusy and it had a little bit of an alcohol flavor. So it was just like a little shot that you took back.
But also a really fresh taste with lemongrass and tartness, the lychee as well.
Right, kind of sweetened it a little bit.
Yeah, sweetened it a little bit. Nice way to introduce Thai flavors and the concept of mixing Spanish food and Thai food. Oh yeah, I remember this one. This was amazing. This little bite, very small, but oh man, the intricacy of this was super cool. What he did was he used the raw meat of scarlet prawns and thinly sliced it to make it resemble the noodles of the pad thai. And basically the tiny little shrimp would represent the regular shrimp in a pad thai, and it just all came together in this one little bite. Everything was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was really creative, and you got the taste of what his creativity was going to be like. These were so good. These were really good. This was his take on satay. So these were little mini charred eggplants, and it was smothered in this nutty, peanutty sauce. So good, so sweet.
And it was basically the classic peanut sauce they put on top of the eggplant. And then they have these little, very thinly sliced, almost like clam jerky on top of it. And adding that seafood flavor.
Yeah, and a little bit of saltiness to balance the sweet. So
it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Combined together.
Really well balanced. So this came out, and it seemed like it was his take on a gazpacho.
Using Thai flavors such as peas and curry, jalapeno peppers, and unique takes such as matcha green tea. And he serves it using a foam as the texture. Absolutely incredible how you can mix these ingredients that you wouldn't normally see together. Oh my God, this was incredible. This was a upscale version of the classic laksa dish that you get in Singapore. And he just uses incredible ingredients like beef tongue and trout roe and serve it on this coconut shell. And he's got that coconut milk flavor in there and a little bit of kick, right? Just like the classic laksa. Everything just blended perfectly together.
So the next appetizer that came out was his take on this classic Singapore dish, black pepper crab.
Yes.
And this was cool. It was served in a crab shell, and the meat, which you can't really see under that foam, but the meat was actually grilled, and then it was topped with that black pepper foam, and it was just a really cool way to represent that dish, and it was delicious. Okay, so next up was the salad course, and this was really surprising.
Oh yeah, super creative, this one.
Yeah, they served the salad on this icy cold dish, and it looked like it was a bunch of greens, but this had so much flavor.
Yep.
And what was cool about this dish was that it had these little ice shards in it, and you bit into them when you took a bite of the lettuce, and they melted in your mouth, and they ended up being the salad dressing flavor.
So creative.
Yeah, it was a really creative way to do the dressing component.
Along with the salad, they actually served 3 different types of fish with 3 different types of pepper.
Yeah.
All of them very interesting, and the skin was all crunchy and the meat melted in your mouth. Super juicy and tender.
Yeah, it was the perfect little juicy bite of fish just to wake up your appetite, and the little bit of pepper on each one paired perfectly with the fish.
Great way to start the protein dishes.
So this dish was beautiful. It came out absolutely gorgeous. Really strong flavors. The sauce was really strong.
Yep.
And it was cool because those 2 little white balls there are exploding mozzarella balls. So it's that molecular gastronomy again. And then underneath there are these little baby eels. It was
That was probably the least favorite dish.
It was probably, I would agree, it's probably the weakest of the dishes. There wasn't a lot of substance to the dish. You just scooped it and it was very saucy. And obviously baby eels aren't very meaty.
Yeah, I would say definitely the baby eel was kind of more of a texture thing because you bite into the bones and there's not really a lot of meat that you can taste. I think it was carried with the sauce and the mozzarella most of the way.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a beautiful dish, but least favorite from a flavor standpoint.
Oh, this one was really good too.
Yeah.
This was like a one bite dish. This was his take on a Chinese soup dumpling, but he was using Korean flavors.
This was super interesting. It's really hard to make soup dumpling in Chinese cuisine, and the ability for him to merge those two cuisines was very interesting. When you bite into it, there's literally warm soup gushing in your mouth and cuttlefish and Korean flavors all coming together.
This one was super creative, and there were steps to it. You had to follow the steps. The first dish, which you see in the back, is almost kind of like a shrimp chip on top. So you're supposed to take a bite of the shrimp chip, and then underneath was a rockfish soup that actually had caviar on top of it, which you can't really see. So then you drink some of that, and then in the foreground there, you see some tuna tartare that has a different type of caviar on it. So you just eat that afterwards. And so all together, those 3 different bites were really good, and all the flavors kind of went together.
Almost tastes like a Toro dish served in different manner. One in a soup manner with a chip, and then a second in the tartare fashion, served with caviar on top. Super delicious and delicate, fatty fish flavor, along with that fine saltiness with the caviar mixed all together. Absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, this one was funny. This was his take on Japanese seafood ramen using sea cucumbers as the noodles. The creativity behind this dish was mind-boggling. He just mixed all these different flavors, strong flavors, but also very well balanced.
Okay, so this was amazing. This was like a mind. This was a lobster croquette. You pretty much just eat it in one bite, pop it in. All I remember is my mind being blown. It was so flavorful, just full of lobster flavor, just super intense.
Yeah.
The crispiness of the croquette on the outside.
The batter was amazing.
Batter was, this was probably my second favorite dish of the entire night.
Definitely.
This was unbelievable.
Served alongside this one, they had the lobster tail, absolutely grilled to perfection.
Yeah, this was delicious. Beautiful dish, just gorgeous, just stunning. I love the plating on this one.
Yeah.
Beautifully, perfectly grilled lobster. And then really cool, it came with this strip of buffalo cheese on top. And then there's these little powders that you dip the lobster into, and it gave it kind of like a spicy curry flavor to it. Yeah, this was a stunning dish.
Amazing. One of my favorite parts of this dish is the head of the lobster. They cook it with the head cheese and curry vindaloo, and you just bite into it. It's just this dense lobster flavor. Absolutely exquisite. And rounding out the last protein dish, I got this amazing, the most melt in your mouth Wagyu beef on the left side, as you can see. And then on the right side, if you're familiar with Asian shredded pork, they basically made prawn version of this and the shredded pork texture. Absolutely incredible. Just another way he creatively mixes the expectations of the classic Asian dish and mixing it with premium ingredients and Spanish flair.
Okay, this was the best fish I've ever had in my entire life. This was unbelievable. The best dish of the night, in my opinion. They brought this to the table and it looked like it was glistening with fat almost, because it was just so juicy and glistening.
You can see the char on the edge.
It was charred on the outside, and you bit inside of this and the monkfish was so juicy and flavorful. It was the most intense fish flavor I think I've ever had in my entire life. Just tender, perfectly charred on the outside, just gave a little bit of bitterness to the sweetness of the fish, a little bit of burnt flavor.
Yeah.
This was incredible. And then on the side of the fish, they served this jalapeno gazpacho. So this cold jalapeno flavored soup. And then on the top there, you can see little flakes of coconut. So you basically took a bite of the fish, you dipped it into the gazpacho, and then you dusted it with a little bit of coconut. And I could not believe all of those flavors worked so well together. Mind-blowing. This chef is brilliant. It was paired perfectly. The sweetness of the fish, the light spiciness from the jalapeno, the coconutty flavor. This was outstanding. We still talk about this dish today. Beautiful, beautiful dish. Okay, so this was the first of the dessert dishes. So this was his take on a rice pudding, but a more elevated version of it. So he's risotto instead of the rice pudding. And it came with some white truffle on there, which gave it a really nice earthiness, and instead of a strawberry flavor, using rhubarb and beets. So it was very delicate flavors, a little bit of earthiness, The texture was really cool from the risotto.
And it had a nice crunch to it because it was like slightly toasted. So it was
Excellent.
excellent.
This was the next dessert. This was super creative. Just the pairing of ingredients was really surprising.
Yeah.
There was like a yuzu coconut ash ice cream. I don't know how all those flavors work together, but they did. Like an ashy kind of ice cream. And then little bits of bubblegum flavor to go with it.
And some black garlic as well.
Black garlic. Yeah, it was just really surprising.
And surprisingly, the ice cream does have this very ashy flavor, like it's burnt.
Yeah, you definitely taste the ash in it.
Overall, I feel the flavor profile, even though it was very creative, it didn't exactly come together very well.
Yeah, I would say the flavors of this didn't necessarily clash, but I guess I would say they didn't necessarily have like a coherent identity to it.
Yeah, it just felt like the flavors were pulling you in all different directions and didn't really have a cohesive direction that it was trying to get to.
Still really fun to eat though. Like
Very
I really enjoyed tasting each different component, but wasn't the most composed dish. This was the perfect way to wrap up the entire dinner.
Yeah.
They brought out these 4 different flavors of bonbons, and they were all Japanese inspired flavors. These were really, really creative.
Oh yeah.
They had like a strawberry cheesecake one that was good. They had a custard flavored one that were pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, our favorites.
2 favorites.
The milk and coffee with the croissant, absolutely incredible.
This one was really cute because you can see the little croissant on top, and then the bonbon itself was milk flavored, and then there's a little coffee flavored square in the front. So you pop it in your mouth and you get all the flavors together. Really, really good. This was so good and so cute.
It was like a little breakfast and a bite for dessert.
Yeah, right. Super cute.
So the next one is kind of a more fruity flavor, but use a mix of blackberries and mangosteen. And for those who haven't had mangosteen, it's a Southeast Asian fruit that has a tartness to it that is a mix between like a mango and a lychee.
It's very unique.
Yeah, it's very unique.
Yeah.
It's really hard to describe.
Yeah.
But for him to even actually know of this fruit is actually very impressive.
This was just incredible.
That was DiverXO in Madrid. Personally, my favorite restaurant in the entire world. This guy was absolutely incredible, the way he was able to mix local Asian flavors and all the different spices that you would only know if you're a local person. The fruits and the textures and creating a different concept of what the original dish was. It was just absolute mind-blowing experience.
Right, you just really got to see the chef's creativity, just unbelievable precision when it comes to cooking, the technique. He was a total mad scientist. Every dish that came out, you didn't know what to expect. You just got excited for the next one.
Yeah.
And each one was mind-blowing. Yeah, I still can't forget about that. I still remember that fish. I can't forget about that fish. That one fish was amazing.
Let's just say, when you taste this food, you can tell he spent years practicing how to make those local flavors.
Right.
It wasn't just a, hey, give me the recipe and learn how to cook. He definitely studied Asian cooking for many years in order to understand the flavor profile. And creatively mixing it with Spanish cuisine was just absolutely genius.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. And be sure to watch our other videos reviewing the top 3 Michelin star restaurants from our honeymoon.